Sack him. That's the only thing these people understand, brutality. They're like animals, you know. One hint of weakness and they're all over you. Swine. Just write it all down on a piece of paper, Edwin. Let me have it after lunch. And then I shall prepare the instrument of execution. Well, what are you still standing about for?
Frank, I have to talk to the union first.
What the hell's it got to do with them?
The union represents the workers, Frank, and Digby is a worker.
Digby isn't a worker, he's a thief. The union doesn't represent thieves, does it? Mind you, it wouldn't surprise me.
No, Frank, you believe Digby to be a thief.
Did he or did he not steal a load of planks from our timber yard? Were they or were they not discovered in Digby's garden by Police Constable Thick?
Thin. Easy thin.
Or are you telling me that they got down there under their own steam? Oh, yes, perhaps they ran out of the front gate one night and jumped onto a number 47 bus. 24 singles to Agamemnon Crescent, please, and do you mind if we sit on the floor because we haven't got any legs?
As a matter of fact, Frank, Digby said that he found the wood at the side of the road.
Oh, Edwin. Edwin!
Digby was seen in the yard taking the wood.
No, someone was seen in the yard taking the wood. Actually, the figure was not identified.
Yes, but Digby's van was identified, driving off down the road not 5 minutes later.
A van was seen driving off down the road. Nobody actually saw the number plate.
But PC Thin found the wood in Digby's yard not half an hour after that.
Yes, but if you look there, Digby said that he found the wood at the side of the road.
Edwin! You're not in this with him, are you?
What?
How amusing.
It's not amusing. That is not at all amusing. Frank, I am merely trying to be fair to this man and protect the company at the same time. Unsubstantiated accusations, Frank, could lead to wrongful dismissal. And that could be very embarrassing.
The man has died in the wool villain. You only have to look at his face.
Frank, he has been with the company 12 years, a spotless record.
He was biding his time.
12 years for 24 pieces of wood?
All right, he thinks small. That's another black mark against him. But what would it have been in another 12 years' time?
Half a pound of nails.
Nails. That's it. Of course. I'll bet his house is absolutely filled with our nails. I'll bet if you were to take every one of our nails out of that house, it would collapse to the ground. Good God, it makes you sick.
Frank, please, can we forget nails? Will you stop writing everything down, Granville? Look, it's nothing to do with nails, Frank.
All right. Just hit him with the wood. That should be more than sufficient.
After I have spoken to the union.
Very well, then. Speak to the unions. Tell them what a delightful chap Digby is, and how we all hope he will become the chief executive of the National Westminster Bank. Then we sack him!
Good heavens.
Alice, I'm expecting Mr. Blundell in a couple of minutes. When he comes in, would you leave us alone, please? Go and get yourself a cup of coffee or something.
You going to talk about sex?
Sex with Mr. Blundell?
It's what men always talk about when there aren't any women around.
Oh, is it? Is it really? Oh. Alice, when does your Cecil get back from Saudi Arabia?
April
Oh, I'm delighted.
or August bank holiday.
Doesn't he love you anymore?
I've forgotten.
Oh, I'm sure he does. I'm sure he loves you. However, Alice, I do think perhaps it would be a very good thing if you got yourself a hobby. Keep your mind off things.
It's that new bird in the canteen, isn't it?
Alice, Mr. Blundell and I are about to discuss a very delicate and sensitive situation.
She's married, you know.
Alice, please, dear. Come in, Mr. Blundell.
And she's got 4 kids.
Who's got 4 kids?
The Queen. Now, look here, I have just had a long discussion with Mr. Lazenby, and Mr. Lazenby has, in fact, Mr. Blundell, come to the conclusion that it would be so much better for Mr. Digby himself if he sought alternative employment.
And if he doesn't want to?
We sack him.
You mean just like that? 12 years he's been here. 12 happy, carefree years.
Yes, that is why Mr. Lazenby insists that we do nothing about it without full cooperation of the union.
I see. Passing the book.
But don't you want to be involved?
Involved, yes. Blamed, no thanks. If you're going to dismiss young Arnold Digby, There's got to be a cast iron case made out.
Mr. Blundell, he nicked company property. It was in his garden.
When does the trial come up?
And there's not going to be a trial, for goodness sake. He's got enough problems already. We don't want to add to them.
Just chuck him on the scrap heap.
He is a thief and a robber.
Are the police bringing charges?
Now, you know perfectly well that they always wait for us to make the full move, and we are not that sort of company.
Well, either young Arnold Digby is proved to be a criminal, or we'll throw the full weight of the union behind him. I'm not having the Society of Amalgamated Benders and Pressers accused of standing by while a brother was victimised by a ruthless employer. And I'd watch out for words like robber, thief, etc. There are laws of libel, you know. And young Arnold could take you for a lot of damages.
Mr. Blundell, I do wish you'd stop calling him young Arnold. He's nearly 54. And I shouldn't bother about talking about slander, if I were you. Because we shall be calling him a thief and a liar in private.
So I should think. That sort of talk could ruin a young fella's career. Well, you know where to find me.
Oh, my God.
How'd it go?
Were you listening outside, Granville?
Me? No, of course not. Digby can't really sue us for slander, can he?
Probably, yeah.
I've had another thought.
Oh, good, good.
Suppose the wood really did fall off a lorry.
No, it won't wash. It's got our name all over it.
Yeah, but suppose he intends returning it to us.
You mean he nicks it, and then he gives it back to us? He's thick. He's not that thick.
No, I mean, if he sticks with this story about finding the wood in the road, it's quite feasible to assume that he'd take the wood home and then bring it back. That's a sound defence at law.
Yeah. Have you told Frank your theory?
Not my job. More like your job.
Yeah. You are a worm, Granville. It was your idea. Why didn't you go and tell Frank?
I can't help it if I'm bright.
Go and tell him.
No, you go and tell him. You're better at it than I am, more experienced, much better at handling Frank in a towering rage. Must go.
How'd it go?
Alice, shut up.
Told you she was married.
Have you ever looked at Digby? He has got small eyes very close together, a sloping forehead, and a celluloid badge that says Villa our Magic.
Frank, what I'm trying to say is this. The union will support Digby unless he's found guilty. And even a reasonably clever lawyer would get him off.
God! Is this the country that gave the world the internal combustion engine?
No, it isn't.
I can remember the days when we used to make Welsh dressers out of real wood. Craftsmen there were in those days. Skilled, honest men who grovelled when management walked by. There was hardship and misery in those days, but by God, the wood was seasoned. What are we going to do, Edwin?
Well, Frank, I think we've got three options. One, we fire Digby and watch the union close down the plant. Two, we charge him with theft and watch him get off. Or three, we do nothing at all and watch him.
I don't like any of those. Try again.
No, that's the lot, Frank. That is the lot.
Rubbish! There has got to be a way. We employ you to sort out the workers. Well, get sorting out.
I'm sorting out all the time. I was sorting out this morning.
There could be a mentioned in dispatches for this, you know. Grateful little gleam in Munich's eye. Or the sack.
Darling, do you remember Tortosa?
No.
Of course you do.
Oh, was that that place where we nearly sold Vera Porchester to that fat Arab for 350 quid?
Iago Tortosa.
No, I've never been there.
The awfully clever Spanish painter. You know, the one we met in Madrid. Do you remember? He said he'd like to have an exhibition here in Lockwood.
I thought he said he was awfully clever.
Well, he's been as good as his word. He sent me some etchings. 24.
Super.
They're beautiful. They make a terrific exhibition. Do you think Robert's asleep?
Huh?
Well, he's taken to waking up and playing his clarinet recently.
Monica, what's this got to do with etchings?
Nothing at all. Anyway, they arrived this morning. 24 of them.
Yes, darling, so you said.
Would you like to see them?
No.
They're very unusual pictures. I'd like to get the reaction of the man in the street.
Well, why don't you go and find one? Monica, what are you doing down there? Shh. What are we listening for?
Robert,
Why?
I think think it's all right.
Look, darling, please, not on my papers. I've got all this work to do. The company's going... Good Lord.
This is number 2.
Good Lord. What must number 24 be like?
Well, I think they're all vaguely similar.
Is this chap Tortoise still free and walking the streets?
But he's very well known.
I'm not surprised.
They'll make a marvellous exhibition, won't they? In the gallery.
Gallery? In your gallery? You're not putting these on public exhibition in your gallery?
Well, of course I am. That's where I've got them.
I forbid it. I absolutely forbid it. Monica, I mean, will you look at this? And look at this. And look at that.
But it would be a terrific feather in our cap. Our very own Tortosa exhibition.
Darling, look, don't let's talk about feathers. If the police got wind of this, it would have nothing to do with feathers. I mean, it would be handcuffs and leg irons.
But he's had lots of exhibitions. London, all sorts of places.
Darling, Lockwood is not London and all sorts of places. London is a quiet, sober, narrow-minded, spiteful, bigoted country town. And supposing someone like Mrs. Gilchrist saw this little lot. Mrs. Gilchrist still believes in the restoration of Australia as a penal settlement.
I think they're beautiful.
Yes, darling, I'm not saying they're not beautiful. I'm just saying they are revolting.
Well, I'm glad I asked you.
Well, you were wise. You were very wise, darling.
I shall put a special sign on the door.
Good.
No one under 18 admitted.
What?
Well, darling, this may raise a few eyebrows, but this man is a genius.
Oh, God, I wouldn't know anything about that, would I? I mean, I've got the artistic insight of an anteater. But I do know the hard stuff when I see it, and I'm seeing it.
You sound just like Mrs. Gilchrist.
Really, Monica, there is no need to be offensive.
Oh, it could be her standing.
For heaven's sake, Monica.
I mean it,
Mrs. Gilchrist, do you honestly say that I sound like Mrs. Hang-em and to hell with the consequences Gilchrist?
Oh, if I closed my eyes, it could be
Yeah,
her
all right, Monica, all right. But all I'm saying is, well, they're not exactly the monarch of the Glen, are they? Still, I suppose if you had your exhibition between 2 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the morning and everybody wore dark glasses, good God. Look at that. I say, I don't believe that. I say, that's not bad, really, is it?
It's charming.
It is absolutely charming, that, yes. Wow. Actually, it looks a bit like Erica Slingsby.
I've never seen Erica Slingsby look like that.
Oh, haven't you?
No.
Oh, well, nor have I, darling. No. No, I mean, it just, looks, vaguely like, I would imagine. Well, it doesn't matter. Actually, I suppose I was being rather stuffy about it, really. Hmm?
Oh, well, you were just being a little prudish, darling.
No, I wasn't, darling. I was being downright prudish. Put him away!
I've given the matter some thought, Edwin, and I've come to the conclusion that we are short on facts. So, I have decided to call in a private detective.
You're making a big mistake, Frank.
I beg your pardon.
All we have to do is call Digby's bluff. Ask him for our wood back.
Ask him. It's our bloody wood! Anyway, what good would that do?
We'd get our wood back.
I am not interested in a few rotten planks of wood, Edwin. I want Digby out of here, onto the moor.
That's for murderers, Frank.
He's been robbing us blind for the past 12 years, and I can't stand people who wear celluloid badges.
He has not been robbing us blind for the past 12 years. Lots of people wear celluloid badges these days. My own son, he wears a celluloid badge.
Not with Villa Magic on it.
No, Frank. It's got Save the Walrus, I think.
Stamp it out, Edwin. We all know where saving walruses leads to, don't we?
No, Frank, I don't know.
It leads to people living in communes, knitting their own trousers and making their own kitchen furniture. You didn't know that, did you?
No, I didn't know that, Frank, no.
Well, you better go and make out a dossier on Digby for this private detective.
Sure.
Save the walrus, indeed.
I don't know what to say.
I'm not surprised. Arnold Digby's got to be the most boring man in the company.
But he has apparently entered into a life of crime. Surely that must make him more interesting.
The lowest grade unseasoned deal full of knots and splinters. No one else would have looked at it.
Alice, really, you're not saying that this whole business was a sort of desperate, crazy gesture by a man at the end of his tether, are you?
No, I'm saying he's thick.
Now, wait a minute, though. As a matter of fact, that's pretty good, you know, the psychological angle. Yeah. Now, I might be able to use that. Might even write an article for the Labour Relations World Quarterly. Petty theft, a cry for help.
I don't know what he's got to cry for help for. He's got a house, a job, a greyhound, a wife.
Got a greyhound, does he?
Well, they say it's really sort of tall dachshund. But some people haven't even got that. I mean, look at me. Cut off from all the natural pleasures of young womanhood.
Yeah, well, yes, I mean, I do see that, Alice. I mean, that must be, you know... Look, do sit down, my dear. Come on, sit down. You'll be all right, Alice. Come on now. Oh, poor Alice. You're not uttering a cry for help, are you, Alice?
Are you trying to say something, Mr. Thornfield?
No, I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, Alice. I mean, I just wondered if you want to say anything, I'll listen.
Wouldn't it be one of life's ironies if the company's biggest relationship problem was happening right here, right under the nose of the Labour Relations Executive?
Oh, well, you... Did you say you had a greyhound, Alice? Ah.
More? So, what's the verdict?
I'm sorry, Monica. Geoffrey says no.
What do you mean?
He says if we go ahead with this exhibition, he'll...
Yes?
Well, he'll be extremely displeased.
Oh, big deal.
Right.
I'm going ahead anyway.
I think you're very brave. Will you be taking Robert away from school?
Why?
Well, there's bound to be talk. This exhibition really is going to be something else. And, of course, you'll be going ex-directory.
Whatever for?
They'll be phoning you night and day.
Who will?
All those curious men that belong to the Lockwood Film Society. They never show ordinary pictures there.
Oh, Vera. I saw Black Beauty at the Lockwood Film Society.
The one about the horse? Or the one about love in Nairobi?
Does this mean that you're not going to help with the exhibition?
Helping, my dear. I won't even be coming.
Now, before Blundell comes, I want to get one thing straight. We now have concrete evidence that Digby is a thief.
We haven't.
For the past 48 hours, our detective has been digging out all the dirt.
There isn't any.
We have got photographs, signed statements from witnesses, the lot.
No, we haven't.
Well, of course we haven't, but we don't want Blundell to know that.
Blundell's bound to find out, isn't he?
Not until we've got rid of Digby.
Frank, that's mean.
I can be mean. And so would you be if you'd had Munich's jackboot on your neck 12 months of the year.
Blundell is bound to want to see the evidence.
He'll do as he's damn well told. Well,
I'm not late, am I?
we're not ready for you yet, Blundell.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, anyway, Frank, there has been a new development. Go on, Granville. Tell Frank about your new development.
You tell him.
No, I'm not going to tell him. You tell him. It was your rumour. You tell him. Go on.
Well, I did hear that somebody else took the wood and dumped it in Digby's garden for fun.
Did you say for fun?
Well, they do have a totally different sense of humour on the shop floor, Frank.
But this is ghastly.
Why?
Why? Egg. All over us.
I like that, Frank. Very good.
Well, I hate it.
Oh.
We shall become a laughingstock.
Well, very probably, Frank. My goodness, we can take that. We're big enough to take it, aren't we?
We are management, Edwin. Management. We're not ready for you yet!
Anyway, the whole thing is academic, Frank. After all, nobody's accused anybody of anything yet, have they?
I have.
Oh, I mean, not publicly. Have you?
I didn't do it on the Jimmy Young show, if that's what you mean. But I certainly told Blundell I intended to have Digby's guts for garters.
Oh, yeah, well, you just said it to Blundell.
I only addressed it to Blundell. There were one or two other people loafing around.
One or two?
A dozen or so. I lost my temper. I'm sorry, Edwin, but we Lazenbys are like that. Red-blooded. In any case, I got angry at the thought of a thieving little toad like Digby.
Frank, you didn't actually use the expression thieving little toad, did you? Yes, you did. You did use the expression thieving little toad. He did, yes. In front of a dozen or so of his colleagues. Well, I mean, that's tremendous. And that really is tremendous.
Doesn't matter, does it?
No. It just means the whole factory's going to come out. That's all, just like that. And there you will be up for libel, slander. Well, you should be jolly. You should be rather jolly.
Are you serious?
I am serious, Frank, yes.
And you've got to get us out of this.
Us?
Wait a minute. How about the unions? Get them on our side. Tell them it was all a silly misunderstanding. Shut up, Blundell!
Frank, even if we did get the unions on our side, which we won't, what are we going to do about your slander?
You mean ours?
No, Frank, I mean yours. I mean, I didn't call anybody a thieving little toad.
That is because you are yellow, Edwin.
If I'd been there, I'd have called him a thieving little
See,
toad.
if he'd been there, he'd have called him a thieving little toad.
That lying toad would call anybody a thieving little toad. Frank, all I can suggest now is that you issue a public apology.
What, to that thieving little toad? Never. Never.
Or be sued.
I'll do it. All right, you better go away and work out the details. Oh, and Edwin, make sure that this public apology is between me and the thieving little toad alone. Here, in this office.
Well, I can't promise anything. Frank.
Hello, Blundell. Morning, Mr. Doggett. Morning, Mr. Walker.
The meeting's over.
Oh, right. Sorry, I missed it, really.
Some of the chaps at school are thinking about forming a junior branch.
Of what?
Your art society.
Really?
Yes, we're having a long chat about it at break.
What a good idea. The Lockwood Arts Society, junior branch. You could be the secretary.
Well, yes.
Do you think there'll be much interest?
Oh, lots.
Well, how many people would want to join, roughly?
At a guess, about half the school.
Half the school?
Morris Slingsby says you've got some superb pictures coming up. By some Spanish chap. Morris says they're rude. That's kids.
Morris Slingsby says. Tell me, when did Morris Slingsby see these pictures?
When you lent them to his mum?
Uh-huh. How old is Morris Slingsby?
Not too sure. About 11.
Morris's mother, she needs her head examining.
He found them on the top of the wardrobe. It's his birthday next week, and they always leave his presents on top of the wardrobe. He had a look. That's all. Wasn't his present, though.
Right. Well, Morris Slingsby is quite wrong. The next exhibition is going to be Watercolours by Patrick Shorthouse.
Not him again.
Nonsense. Patrick Shorthouse is a very fine family painter.
He's boring. These other pictures are
Look, I don't
much-
want to talk about the other pictures. And don't you mention it in front of your father, he'll be furious.
Why, what does
Look,
he think?
I've been warning you, Robert.
All right, I'm going to Bernard's anyway.
Hello.
Hello, darling. Have you had a nice day?
No, just normal. Rob, how goes it?
Oh, not too bad.
Off you go. Don't keep Bernard waiting.
I was only going to say...
Never mind, you've seen your father before. He's had a perfectly normal, rotten day. Now, don't rub it in.
So long, Dad.
Yeah, so long. It was nice seeing you, nearly.
Brainless Erica Slingsby. She put the etchings where she normally leaves Morris's presents. Morris found them.
Who's Morris?
Morris is their 11-year-old son. He's talked of nothing else. It's all over the school.
Oh, that's marvellous, isn't it? Marvellous. At least they'll all get their A-levels in sex education, won't they? Monica, those etchings are going back tomorrow morning, first thing, first mail. Oh. Morning, Alice.
Morning.
Look, Alice. Look, I should have posted this package on my way to work. But they're drilling for oil, as usual, outside the post office. And that would have meant parking the car in Wiltshire, you see. Anyway, the whole package is coming undone, so I wonder if you could repack it for me and post it, right?
No problem. Yes, Mr. Lazenby.
I flicked it. I don't know what you've been doing for the past 24 hours, but I have been licking it.
Oh, good, yes. Yeah, you've come to some agreement with the union, haven't you?
Nothing to do with them.
I see. Well, Digby's offered to resign, has he?
No.
Oh.
I'm going to promote him.
Sorry?
I am going to promote Digby from assistant press feeder to car park superintendent.
Well, Frank, there's no such job.
There is now.
Oh, I take it that it is a union job. No, I'm wrong. It isn't a union job, right? Can I just get this straight, Frank? You are taking him out of a union job and you are putting him in a non-union job.
And then sacking him.
Frank, if I may say so, without fear of offending you, that is the most callous, immoral thing that you have done this week. Now, don't you realise, Frank, we have told you that putting that wood in his garden was a joke.
He didn't bring it back.
Of course he didn't bring it back, Frank. He's too thick to think of bringing it back. When he saw that wood lying here in the garden, he probably said, hello, I've won that on Ernie.
He lied to us, Edwin. He told us he'd found it in the road.
Yes, but Frank, he is too stupid to tell you anything else. Too stupid. He is the sort of man who'll break into a shop and steal last year's calendars. Now, Frank, listen, treating a man like that, as though he were the Godfather's godfather, he's not on. Frank.
That's an entire night's work down the drain. You disappoint me, Edwin.
Yes.
I always knew you were a bit of a weed, but I didn't realise you were a gutless weed. All right. I won't promote him. We'll just charge him with robbery, obtaining money by deception, handling stolen goods.
Well done, Frank.
I'm going soft.
Well done.
I hope to God Munich never finds out.
Well, it could have gone better, I suppose. Couldn't have gone much worse. Where are you going, Alice?
Home.
What are you talking about? It's only 9:30 in the morning.
I've wrapped your things. I'm now going to have a hot disinfected bath and then write a long letter to Cecil.
Alice, when you wrapped my things, you didn't actually...
Yes, I did. And all I can say is that Mrs. Thornfield must be a very brave woman. What some wives have to put up with. Some men are just animals.
Alice, what you doing tonight?